Good morning, CSLSimiValley. How's everybody this morning? It's a nice, intimate group of folks. I tell you what. And let me see. I see it looks like it's all family. And if you're a visitor, that's okay. We do this anyway. Let's just take our shoes off, spread around a little bit, put your feet up, because it's just us. Oh, and you, and you. And welcome to our Facebook folks, our CSLSimiValley YouTube page, and also those that are on CSLSimiValley.org. We are everywhere with Virch and in person. Grateful to have you here. We know we got a lovely service coming up. It's all about you. It's about me. It's about we. And we'll talk about that today and how powerful it is when we all come together, which is, wow, it's just not enough of that. I think we're all suffering from a collective trauma of separation. And what a great place to deconstruct that idea, because we know that we live within the one, that we're a unified experience, and there is no separation in the mind of God. And as a result of that, we have a vision and a mission that we're here to bring to the world, that we practice here, and we say it at the beginning of each service, and let's say it right now. Here it is. We're a community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do. Welcome back, John Newbell.
Thank you. So what we do is pray. So the theme this morning is you, me, are we. In other words, teamwork. So, with that in mind, I recognize the one universal team, which is God. The team that is in, through, and as everything. I recognize each individual here and today as a member of that team. And when we come together as a group, we are much more than the sum of our parts. Because when we come together as a group, we become a we, and we can never be alone. We can never be separate, because the very definition of we is to be together. So when that group is together, we accomplish more. A group may accomplish more than an individual, but it's when that group forms a team that the magic happens. When that group can put, in the words of Emerson, get its bloated nothingness out of the way, that's when the magic happens. Knowing that the ultimate team is a collection of everything on this planet, that when everyone works together as a cohesive team, amazing things can happen. Impossible becomes possible. Solving of world problems, global warming, the global pandemic, world hunger, peace, all this becomes possible when we work as a cohesive team. That's when the wonders happen. And I also recognize that showing gratitude for those supposedly insignificant members of the team is what gives power to the demonstration. Because there is no insignificant member. The cashier at the grocery store, the server at a restaurant, doctor, nurse, all of these are absolutely essential members of that team. And giving gratitude to them empowers the demonstration. So with great gratitude for this amazing team we call planet Earth, I release my word into the law, and so it is.
It's our new congregational song. I will sing it through once myself, and then you can join in. How can I serve today, sweet Spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How can I serve today, sweet Spirit? How can I serve today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. Who needs my love today, sweet Spirit? Who needs my love today, oh Lord? Speak in ways that I will understand. Where you lead me, I will follow. Where you lead me, I will go. How can I serve today? Who needs my love today? How can I serve today? Who needs my love today? Sweet Spirit. Yummy.
So today's reading is by that wise sage known as Anonymous. But on the web page that I found it on, there was a quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes, a different Holmes than one we're used to. And so his quote was, "Many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than the one where they sprang up." So here's the reading. It's called The Long Spoons. Swami was having a conversation with Lord Shiva one day and said, "Lord, I would like to know what heaven and hell are like." Lord Shiva led the Swami to two doors. He opened one of the doors and the Swami looked in. In the middle of the room was a large round table. In the middle of the table was a large pot of stew, which smelled delicious and made the Swami's mouth water. The people sitting around the table were thin and sickly. They appeared to be famished. They were holding spoons with very long handles that were strapped to their arms, and each found it possible to reach the pot of stew and take a spoonful. However, the handle was longer than their arms. They could not get the spoons back to their mouths. The Swami shuddered at the sight of their misery and suffering. Lord Shiva said, "You have seen hell." They went to the next room and opened the door. It was exactly the same as the first one. There was the large round table with a large pot of stew, which made the holy man's mouth water. People were equipped with the same long-handled spoons, but here people were well-nourished and plump, laughing and talking. The Swami said, "I don't understand." "It's simple," said Lord Shiva. "It requires but one skill. You see, they have learned to feed each other, while those in the first room thought only of themselves." So today's affirmation, there we go. I'll read it once, and then I'll invite you to read it with me. I am a better me when I engage the fullness of you, thereby creating a better we. And that's downright divine altogether. I am better me when I engage the fullness of you, thereby creating a better we. And that's downright divine.
Thank you, John. It's so nice to have you back. Let's bring up our brother from across the pond, Darius Lux.
Well, how are you guys doing this morning?
Yeah.
Good. Well, thanks for having me back here. This first song is an original song, and the more I read the Science of Mind stuff, the more I began to realize that our brains want to make a problem sometimes, and especially when you're trying to meditate. It's just, sometimes the problem is that there is no problem, and the mind's trying to figure that out. So I wrote a song about it. What do you do and what do you say? Where do you work and how do you play? Where you heading and hey, where have you been? What do you like and who do you know? What do you see and where do you go? What are you looking at and coming out? What's looking at you? And still it's okay. We'll do the very best we can. It's alright. We're moving in the right direction. It's okay. We're doing better than before. Now tell me, is that all or is there more? 'Cause the problem is there is no problem. It's plain for all to see. Situations right and wrong depends on you and me. The problem is there is no problem. I'm gonna let it be. I don't need no drama, mama. I'd rather be happy. Oh, what do you buy and what do you sell? Who do you kiss and what do you tell? And what are you doing with your life? What do you eat and what do you think? How do you feel and what did you drink? What is wrong and somebody please tell me what is right? And still it's okay. We do the very best we can. It's alright. We're moving in the right direction. It's okay. We're doing better than before. Now tell me, is that all or is there more? But the problem is there is no problem. It's plain for all to see. The situation's right and wrong depends on you and me. The problem is there is no problem. I'm gonna let it be. I don't need no drama, mama, I'm gonna be happy. What are we really fighting for? Is it the right to just have more? When has enough go way too much? And when it's just not too good enough, whatever it is, it will be done. Wherever you are, you can't go wrong. Whenever it is, you realize how it is to be surprised. That the problem is there is no problem. It's plain for all to see. Situation's right and wrong depends on you and me. Problem is there is no problem. I'm gonna let it be. I don't need no drama, mama, I'm gonna be happy. Because the problem is there is no problem. It's plain for all to see. Situation's right and wrong depends on you and me. The problem is there is no problem. I'm gonna let it be. I don't need no drama, mama, I'm gonna be happy. No problem. Thank you.
Drama mama. No drama mama.
It's time again for the gap. I didn't bring you a video this morning, so you'll get to imagine, create your own pictures in your mind. So, and I get to use the gong for the first time. So I invite you to explore new ways of meditation on your own. I just started climbing my mountain again, which is my form of meditation behind my house. So, namaste.
Namaste. Come on back up, Darius.
This is another original song. This is called Surrender, a Higher Power. I need to see the words for this song. I release, surrender, nothing left to lose. Now I feel higher power, transcending all the rules. I've known addiction, known control, chased the shadow of my soul. Screamed into the wind and lost my voice. I face the silence deep within, and when the drama starts again, I know I always have a choice. I release, surrender. Nothing left to lose. I feel higher power, transcending all the rules. So much we think that we must do, slow down perception, point of view. What's this compulsive need to show and tell? And still each day we play the game, embrace the dance of joy and pain. Know from deep inside that all is well. I release, surrender, nothing left to lose. Now I feel higher power, transcending all the rules. Just your beliefs, just I release, surrender. I feel higher power, transcending all the rules. I release, surrender, nothing left to lose. Now I feel higher power, transcending all rules. I release, surrender.
Darius, Lex, and the L's.
And the L's. Thank you, Darius. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. Surrender. Such power in surrender. Not always the easiest thing to do, though, is it? Whoa. That wasn't. No. Don't. We had a long discussion earlier about sound
The
and
squeak.
the squeak, and I have no idea. Nothing changed. There's gremlins. I surrender. Good to see everyone. So this is one of those talks that, as I was putting it together, I'm thinking, gosh, it's very important to know, for a speaker, to know your audience. And this is challenging because the people I'm speaking to right now, and those that are watching, and maybe we have some few visitors that are not familiar with the Science of Mind, and Science of Mind and Spirit, as it was originally called, may not be on this yet, but we understand. This is going to be a remembrance talk, because I think that we really understand the power of you and me as we, and what it means. The deal is, are we choosing that? That's why I put you, me, or we. Are we making that choice? It seems there's been a lot of talk, because now it's become a phrase. He's woke. He's woke. Now you got to be woke. I don't know why phrases have to not be grammatically cool. He's awakened. No. It is time to wake up. And yes, it's definitely time to wake up to the levels of social injustice that are going on in the world, to wake up to the Black Lives Movement, to wake up to the Me Too movement, to move through all the different ways to bring more equity into the world. But there's a larger wake up that has to happen, and it feels like a lot of us are asleep. I'm saying, wake up. It's so easy. I did it this morning. That darn snooze. That snooze alarm. Oh my goodness, it's so tempting. It'll wake me in a few more minutes. And it's easy also, I think, as a result of the conveniences of technology, to hit the snooze for that part of us that is called into oneness. It's called into service of others. I've kind of put myself on a news diet. No, fast. Yeah, more like a fast. I just had to back away. And what caused me to back away was something that happened a couple weeks ago now. 1973. The 70s was incredible. You can have whatever your opinions about Richard Nixon are, you keep them, whatever they are. But one of the things that happened under that administration was something called the EPA. The Environmental Protection Agency was started under the Nixon administration. And in 1973, the EPA put out a list called the Endangered Species List. We are on the edge of the most largest extinction event in the 65 million year history of our planet. When I heard this piece of news, tears. I would go to Hawaii, and there were these songbirds in the backyard of my cousin's home in Hilo. And you wake up in the morning, it was just this beautiful. And if you were careful with your ears, you could see the orange and the yellow and the green and the blue songbirds swinging through, flying through the trees and perching on the ohia bushes and stuff. And that particular songbird is no more. 23 different species that were on the endangered species list have been removed from the list. Not because they have recovered, not because we have found ways to bring that species back, because they are extinct. They're gone. Through 1973, up until 2 weeks ago, only 11 species vanished from the list because they became extinct. To have 23 happen in one listing after that many years is phenomenal. Breaks your heart. Breaks my heart. Now, 54 species have recovered off of that list, and 48 were moved off the list from endangered to threatened. But the fact that we could lose so many, and that we've been talking about this since 1973, we haven't awoken to the call of our planet, to the call of where we live. Most of you, hopefully, otherwise I'm not coming to visit, clean your kitchen once a week at least. Do your dishes daily, hopefully. Every now and then, change the bed sheets. Come on. We take care of our houses, but do we take care of our house? Wake up. We're snoozing. And it's you or me, or it's going to be we all are in disaster if we don't do something about this. that caused me to take a pause. I said, I'm going to do my prayer work. I'm going to know the divine. I started reading some more Joel Goldsmith. Oh my goodness, Joel Goldsmith is such an absolutist. There's not good and there's not bad in the Goldsmith theology. There's only God. There's only God. There's only the one power, the one presence. And we can dive into that one power and one presence. That's the law of mind. See, the law of mind tells us when we practice this, the reason we practice teaching is because we want to know a method for making change in the world. We could be called Methodists. We have a method. Science of Mind Methodists. There have been a lot of them. Bill Hornaday was one of those. But the law of mind reflects what we embody. It becomes the reality of our life. It reflects what we embody. Now, the problem is that it does not always reflect something that is desirable. Ergo, 23 species getting kicked off the list. Ergo, people talking about Black Lives Matter, people talking about the Me Too movement, people talking about social injustice going on in the world because we have not embodied justice. We have not embodied the true harmony. We have not embodied as a collective idea that we don't have to die from certain diseases. The tallest buildings, I've talked about this before, the tallest buildings in a city represent what is most important to a group of people. Now, centuries ago, the tallest building was the cathedral, the spire of the church. What's the tallest buildings in LA now? Which are they? Banking? Insurance, maybe in a couple of oil buildings, and they're going down soon. So we got this thing that we're doing that is showing up. We can tell what's important to us by what is showing up in the world, whether it's desirable or not. It's a result of our consciousness. It's a result of how are we looking at things. Is it all about you? Is it all about me? Or can we make it all about we? See, in our teaching, we do not deny reality. We don't say that, that health is good everywhere. When somebody's got their leg broken, we say, hey, we know there is a divine idea of perfect health and a healed leg, and we affirm that for you now. And then he also sends you to the doctor to get a cast on that thing to support it while you do your mental work as well. And that mental work is affirming the power of the invisible. Power is actually invisible. You don't see electricity, but you certainly see the lights on, right? We don't see life, but you certainly see the tree growing. You see your cat growing. You see your grandchild changing and turning from baby into person and talking and having distinctions and objectifications of things and figuring out stuff. We see things, we see life happening, but the thing that's making it happen is an invisible power. And that's what the law of mind works with, that invisible power. And you and I, as the collective, have a power within us that can move and shift these kinds of things. But we must awaken to it. And Dr. Holmes says that when, and here, before we go there, the reason we must awaken to it is because we've celebrated individuality. It's great. The rugged individualist. It worked well for a while, but it's not working that well anymore. We need to maybe shift that and move to a new idea, a new era. We've celebrated the separateness. We like to build walls and live behind gates and be in gated communities and vacate a street. I saw a sign one say, "Street going on vacation." I thought, what in the world is that? How can a street go on vacation? Well, what they do is they take it off the public rolls and they give it to some private individuals and they put a gate up and that street has now been vacated. It has gone on vacation. And we have put a lot of streets on vacation because we believe in this thing that it's all about me. I got to have mine. Well, what Dr. Holmes is telling us, and this is the quote I want to share with you, is that when we awake to our unity, it is as though we were never isolated. That's the power of the law of mind. Any condition that you are experiencing, when you awaken to your unity with the divine, when you awaken to your unity with this invisible power, and it is healed, it's like the trouble was never even there. It completely takes it away. That's why we practice forgiveness. That's why we do the release step, because when we release and let go, I'm done with that. I'm now accepting this new thing. So any lack that we see, any lack that we experience is really from seeing, it's a thought stopper for me. Lack, stuff not showing up. Oh my goodness, I'm not recognizing the divine presence in this moment. I am missing the thou that's in the all. When I can bring thou, you, me, into the allness of what is happening, that's when I can shift things. That's when I can, because Thich Nhat Hanh tells us that we are here to awaken from the illusion of separateness. Any idea that we are separate and alone, it's just an illusion. If you don't believe so, try to get your refrigerator fixed right now. Try to get a part for something. You've heard about the supply chain, everything being backed up. There was a story I heard about a guy, a restaurant that was waiting for a new refrigerator, and the company, it's a commercial refrigerator, and the company that's building the refrigerator can't build the refrigerator because they need just a little pipe, one pipe. Well, the company that makes the pipe needs a part to fix their pipe building machine, and the part is on a boat that's 10 boats behind out in the Pacific. So before they can even build the thing over here, they got to get the boat on. I mean, all of this. Now they're talking about opening up the docks, 24 hours a day. What's that going to do? You've seen the traffic. It's crazy already. Now there are going to be trucks up and down the highway every day, all day long. And what is this all about? What is this telling us? The you and the me. I got to have mine. The collective consumerism, the biggest philosophy, the biggest religion on the planet, has taken us to the brink of disaster nearby. Maybe we should just get some things fixed, or maybe do a little bit less. How about some minimalism? How many plates do you need? If you had less plates, you wouldn't have to do the dishes as much, and I might come over more often. See how this all works together? It's time to join up. It's time to join up and celebrate and move up a little bit. You know, another reason why I stopped watching the news. The stuff about Facebook and the social media, what do? They don't put on the funny kittens on your page. They put on something that's going to make you upset on your page so that you'll get upset and click on it, and then they'll put more stuff on your page you can get more upset about and click on, and then you'll look at the ads because you're so pissed off. You don't want to look at the page anymore, so now you look at the ads and think, oh, I'll save that, and now you're going to buy that, and here we go again, more stuff backed up on the boat. This push for separation is something that we can change. There's an Irish phrase, a Celtic wisdom. It says, the mountains never meet, but people can come together. The mountains may never meet, but people can come together. We can choose to encounter one another. And there's something that feels good about it. Our soul really loves unity. It adores unity. And when we are in unity, we feel separate. Our souls are what calls us to join back together again. So when we're busy doing the human doing thing, wondering where to be and what to do, maybe the question we should ask ourselves is, how should we be? Not what to do, not where to go, but how to be. How to be. Science of Mind offers a tip on that. Dr. Holmes is very big on this one. He says in the Science of Mind textbook, one of the first things to do is to love everybody. Love everybody. And if you've not done this, begin to do so at once. There's no time to waste. Not so easy all the time. You know, I stay up here and talk this stuff, and I try to practice it in all my affairs, and then the other day I was walking to the store, and there's a guy that's having a different life experience than I'm having, and his life experience calls him to sleep on the sidewalk, and all of his junk is around the sidewalk with him, and I decided to cross the street. And I caught myself in that moment. It's like, oh, there it is again. Me, him, I'm not a part of we. He's not a part of we. He's not the thou. I'm not being loving. Darn it. Had to cross back across the street, walk past the guy, and he happened to wake up when I was walking past, because that's what God does. So now I had to talk to him. Hey, how you doing? I'm all right. That's good. Bye. That's all it took. Didn't take much. Didn't take much. Just a little bit of humanity meeting humanity for half a second. But my soul really loved that moment. That's all it takes, just a second, a little change, a little reminder that, oh my goodness, you know, the you and the me and the we, okay, here I go. And when I can merge those ideas, when I can live in that space of cooperation, when I can live in that space of unity, some happiness starts to unfold within me. I don't feel so distant. I don't feel so apart from. and the other doesn't feel rebuffed. First thing we must do is love. If we're not loving our neighbor, it might be because we do not see our neighbor as ourselves. I mean, there's just an earthquake and a paycheck away from me living right there too. All of us, we don't know. Knock the building down because it shakes, God forbid. You know, whatever, who knows? You hear about these stories all the time. Somebody has an accident, they can't pay their bills, they get evicted from their house, next thing you know, they have no address, and they can't get their application can't be sent back, they can't get a job, now they're living on the street. It's so simple. It's so simple. Yet, it's easy to fix if we can remember this concept that we're talking about today. There's a woman named Joan Brown. She's a Franciscan nun and climate activist, social justice activist. She says, what if we could realize the difference we cannot tolerate? What if we could realize the difference we cannot tolerate or are bent on destroying is responsible for our well-being? She's talking about diversity. What if we could realize that the things that we're not liking, the things that we abhor, they're actually saying something to us. That if we're disturbed by a difference, that's a call to look deeper. The rest of my story with the gentleman who was sleeping on the sidewalk, calling that his home, was that later that day, I opened up some mail, and there were 5 coupons that were just sent. They just send you the coupons for dinners at the downtown Skid Row, Union Mission. So, of course, I get those. I've got to write a check now. Maybe go down and volunteer and serve some meals, like we do at the Samaritan Center. Because I was disturbed by that difference. I was called to look deeper, and I was realizing I'm not doing enough. When you're disturbed by the experience, you can look inside and say, are you doing enough? How am I to be? And how you are to be will lead to what it is you are to do, which is, of course, to love first. See, often what's been shunned, what we avoid, what we're not willing to look at, is actually necessary for the multitude of forms to show up in the world. It's these moments that really call us to our greatest good, that call us to what is next, to open us up to... Here, a person named Scott Bay Jones, Mickey Scott Bay Jones, really laid this down. I saw this in one of my readings last week, and it really got me. It's called The Narratives That Make Us. And he says that it is intellectually, spiritually, and rationally lazy to only focus on similarities as a core to how we care for one another and organize together. Intellectually, spiritually, and relationally lazy to only focus on the similarities. Only things I see in common. That's the only reason I'm going to hang out with you, because what I see in common. That's the only thing that makes it important for me, is because you got this and I got this and we got this together. Wow, really? But there's another thing we can do. We can look for the differences. You know, there's certain groups who are asked to look for the common, not the difference, because that's going to help you heal. For an individual, perhaps that may be true, but for the collective, look for the difference, because the difference is what will help me heal. Because if I can show your difference and make it work for me and bring those together, that's when we can organize together and do something together and be a little bit differently. We must see things the way God sees things. It's a great Meister Eckhart quote that's one of my favorites. It's the eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one eye, one love, one seeing, one knowing, one power. And Meister Eckhart. Can we know as God knows? Can we see as God sees? One eye. Well, one way, and this is what Scott Bay Jones talks about, one way is to know the story, is to take time. If I were to rewrite that scene that I was talking about on the sidewalk, I would have stopped, because I really wasn't in that much of a hurry anyway. I was just on my morning walk. I would have stopped and spent some time to hear the guy's story. I used to do that years ago when I was working back in television. I always thought it was crazy that they serve you so much food, more than you could eat, and I'd always take a to-go bag. And that's when homelessness was just getting rampant around this city. It was late 80s, early 90s, and I would go up to people and say, "You want some food?" And give them the food, and I'd sit there with them. And I met a guy from the University of Indiana who just missed, he was one of those stories I was talking about a minute ago. He just missed becoming a tenured professor, and then he got laid off because they only kept the tenured professors at the University of Indiana, and then he ended up coming west because he kind of came out to be with a relative, and the relative had misfortune, so he couldn't stay with the relative anymore, and he found himself homeless and on the street. And he was one of those without an address that couldn't find a job, even though he was a former college professor. He had the bluest eyes I could ever remember seeing. And they were so bright. There was such intellect coming from him. We sat there and we talked for 15 or 20 minutes, getting to know the story. That deep listening relieves suffering. Stories help to, and when we engage in someone's story, then it provides clarity to a situation. Engaging in stories is so healing. How many of you have been to Poetry as a Spiritual Practice, either in the morning or on the Wednesdays? That came out of story sharing. That came out of story sharing, where they would have Israelis, Jewish and Muslim folks come together and share their stories in common. And at first, soldiers would monitor this joining together. And eventually the soldiers would get involved in it. And because they got to know each other through their stories, they became friends. And the rest is now become, for us, Poetry Spiritual Practice. Sharing stories, engaging, it reminds us of the similarities, and it points out the differences, and it shows that there may be a way that we can do something. It's a way to touch another. So much of our life is about, our sense is about bringing things in, and touching stuff, which we don't get to do enough of. It's been a long time since we got to do enough touching of one another. We're getting back to that slowly, but there's something about touching. So much so that when we are touched, we can pull our hands to our hearts. That there's something internal that happens when we are touched. But you really touched me. And you even grab at yourself and you deflect, you bow a little bit. That really touched me. In John O'Donoghue's book, Adam Kari, he talks about this. He says, at the highest moments of human intensity, words become silent. Then the language of touch really speaks. In knowing the you and me story as we, can we allow the other to touch us to the point where we don't even have to speak? We can rediscover and transcend situations so that warmth and tenderness and a sense of belonging emerges for us. This idea of touching another through their story, through contact, through our beingness, through the experience of love, which I know we all do, but we can, if we've already, and I know we're all doing it, but can we take it up? Can we take it up a notch? Right? What's the cook that does that? Bam, take it up a notch. Can we do that? Right? Can we do that? Because there's this thing in separateness that, there, that guy, that philosopher that was sharing his wisdom for us today, anonymous. Anonymity puts distance between us, but intimacy puts a sense of belonging. And that intimacy comes when that silent activity happens, when the intensity of words goes silent, and so we can only be touched. And there's a field, out beyond right and wrongdoing, there's a field, I shall meet you there. And in that field, I'm touched by your truth. So we're called to attune to connection. And when we tune to connection, then we are called to widen our personal wants. Can I want more than just what is going to serve me? Can what I start to want in my life, can it also serve you? And in so doing, it'll serve us all. Right? Can I begin to include another? Can I open up my floodgates and let some love run through? Flash flood watch coming. It's flat flood warning coming. And it's love falling out of my heart. Can that happen? Can you call that? Can you engage a shared divinity? I think we can. I think we do. And however we've done it, I think we can do it a little bit more. Joan Brown says that we are called to be larger than who we can imagine being at this moment. We are called to be larger than who we can imagine being at this moment. What a lovely call. Because in truth of that is that we are the divine, right? That's what we study here in the science of mind. We are the emanations of spirit. If you are the emanations of spirit, you're emanations of the most infinite, powerful presence, not in the universe, that is the universe. So if that's who we are, why play small? It makes no sense because we got the power that does all. So there's no reason to play it small. We have the tools. In fact, I'm taking a class with a guy named Resmond Minikin. And he says, tools, it's great to have tools, but tools sounds like work. How about play? Let's play with these concepts. So tools, he calls them toys. We've got the toys. We've got treatment. We have our understanding of our relationship to the divine. We have the melding together, the unifying experience of love and law and how that works. Those are our toys. We can put those toys into action and put those cosmic principles into action and let the interdependence of the world that is here, let the energy of interdependence move us in an incredible way. And all of this I'm talking about is already existing in you, in me, and in we. And so it is. I feel like I should have had some cheerleaders behind me just doing pom-pom cheers. Give me a Y, give me an O, give me a U, ooh, you know? Because that's all I really want to do is just to cheer us on. Because I started with all that extinction stuff, and it's kind of a downer, but the point of the matter is there's hope. We are the experience of hope. Keep hope alive. Reminds me of that show Living Color. Remember the show Living Color? Anybody see that? I think that was on Living Color where they said, keep hope alive. It was Jesse Jackson. He was a guest on it. Keep hope alive. That was his campaign slogan. And then they rolled out Bob Hope in a wheelchair. Keep hope alive. Okay, it's our prayer time. It's oh, that's right. No, it's not. That's the thing. Oh, yeah, this is a fun one. I like this one. And you guys chuckled at just the right point. Oh, they liked it too. Let's do it together. Here we are. I am a better me when I engage the fullness of you, thereby creating a better we. And that's downright divine. Ain't it though? Yes. Now it's the revealing prayer time. Okay. Let's practice some of that being touched. Let's allow ourselves to be touched by the divine and to touch back, to sit in that one experience, in that experience of wholeness. So in this very moment, just settle in to your personal serenity station, your chair, maybe your bed at home, wherever you might be. And allow yourself to feel touched by the connection that you have as spirit with the world itself. So don't try to move past any feeling of separation. We're not appealing to a divine presence that is out there. We're recognizing and affirming a divine presence that is who you are. And so in that space, what is being called forth to be made manifest in the physical plane from that invisible power? And let that vibration come out in your voice or in your feeling. But I'll take a moment to hear that, and then we'll affirm it in prayer. What are you being touched by at this moment? So settling into this space and recognizing that there is this one power and presence that we are a part of, that is a part of us. I'm knowing that what we find to be desirable or undesirable is merely the experience of God showing up, allowing us to move into a space of deeper reckoning, of wider giving, of more open expression of love. There's always the more available to us. And that more does not necessarily mean more stuff, more things, more gadgets, or more toys. It can be the intangibles, more beauty, more love, more wholeness, more health, more harmony, more justice, more equity, more right guidance, more divine ideas, more perfect unfoldment of life itself. Feel into that more and accept that as your experience right here and now. This is what I know is true for each and every person here, that wherever they are moving into that joyous experience of life, more of that is unfolding for them now. So feeling a deep sense of conviction in this truth and a total understanding that it is done unto us as we believe. I believe in the good here and now. I release this prayer into that good, open, loving law that says yes by affirming with these words, and so it is. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So we're going to move from that invisible space to a physical experience called money that helps make stuff happen. I love money. Not so much because I like a lot of money, but I love how it works. It's so fun to put a thin piece of plastic into a slot and out pops a chai tea latte. It's like having your very own replicator in your wallet everywhere you go. And then it tells you you're a cool person. Approved. Sweet. So if you'd like to approve CSLSimiValley Spiritual Community, you can do so at the website, at text to give, or call the office, or in the baskets that are going to pass by right now. If you would like to affirm your own approval of prosperity and abundance, say these words with me right now. Here they are. Divine love, it's doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSLSimiValley now. Divine love is victorious.
on back up, Darius. Got one last song with Darius and the elves. And please sing along. You know the song. While Darius is getting set up, I wanted to ask you, what happens when you teach a wolf to meditate? It becomes a werewolf. A werewolf. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Little Halloween, spiritual. That was good.
Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world be a better place. Yes, this world is gonna be a better place for you and me. You just wait and you'll see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place. Yes, this world is gonna be a better place for you. Thank you very much. Thank you to you guys as well, to the L's and Sherry. And
Thank you, Darius.
Thank you, sir. Beautiful. It's always good to have you here. All right. So, in the announcements, the Poetry and Spiritual Practice, it said on Zoom, it didn't also mention that she'll be here in the sanctuary live And it'll also be available on Zoom, the hybrid way, like we've been doing it. So if you want to come and do it in person, please do come here on Wednesday for Poetry and Spiritual Practice, and it'll also be hybrid on Zoom. And the street fair coming up, Dr. Susan can use your support on that. So anybody interested in helping out with the street fair or finding things you may need in advance of the street fair, one of the things we do is we give away books at the street fair, and people have gotten kind of used to it. They walk up now and go, "You got the books?" So you might want to talk to her about whether she needs some help on that. Thank you so much for Ron for doing the stage work today. Our service team today, Mona Sandoval, Peter Lambert, and Greg Schaefer. Was that right? Okay. Pat, did you do anything? Were you on service team today? Okay, Pat there too. Good, good, good. Yes, he said, "Get up, Greg. Go do it." That's how that works. If you'd like to be on the service team, please talk to any of these service members or to Lane Taylor, and she can help you out and get you on the service team. Thank you, Gregory, for coming back on the booth. Much love to Gregory. Right out of his hospital bed and straight up into the booth. That's dedication right there. I tell you, you can't keep a good man down at all. Kathy Burt on the slides back there. Let's see, that's there. Oh, and then I got my lovely people in the music. Lane Taylor and Lynn Maxon, the L's. John Bellis, right? We got Randy Jones, Sherry Deeds, Steve Fowler, and bringing it on home, Darius Lux. Okay, and we wouldn't be able to get into the building if Dee didn't open things up for us. After service, our practitioner of the day, John Newbill, although that's a heck of a praying consciousness over there too on the bass, spiritually in deep waters with that man. But this deep-watered man will be underneath the exit sign available for prayer after the service. See, that's very symbolic that you go for prayer because he stands at the exit sign. Your problems will exit when you pray with John. That's how that works. All right. And then there's Dr. Susan. And the Cosmic Kids. Come on out.
Thank you. All right. Today, what do we get to, what we play with? We blew bubbles. Today we talked about where our thoughts came from and what God looks like and if we could go to the grocery store and find it on a shelf. We decided we couldn't. But we did find that anything and everything that we did want and need, we could find where? Inside ourselves. When we needed it. So we have a picture. I'm going to hold out your picture. This is all of her God thoughts on there. And she's still writing hers. And Emma, what did you put down for some of your God thoughts?
What did you put down for some of your God thoughts? My friends.
Your friends.
The beach.
Mm-hmm.
My book. Music.
And what?
Music.
Music. All right. So did you have any, and we saw hers. Did you want to have, which one did you want to use? Where did it all come from? What was this one?
Energy.
Energy.
Yeah.
God is expressing as energy through all of us.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
That was
All
our
right.
morning.
Thank you very much. Let's all figure out what are our God thoughts and what are and maybe we can all get some bubbles later. That's really fun too. You went and did bubbles? All right, so we'll see some of you on Wednesday, see the rest of you next week. Let's stand now and do our closing benediction, and then we will sing ourselves right into the rest of the day. Here we go. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
I release, I let go, I let the spirit run my life, and my heart is open.
Yes, that was good.